So if I can do it in such hard circumstances, then everybody can do it. It's all about the mindset. Let's say that, I'm trying to create a piece of content, short form, YouTube video, whatever, and I see someone already doing that. I'll still do it. You know why? It's because the person who did it before me doesn't have the same story as me, doesn't have the same experiences as me. So that's what sets people apart, your story. And when it comes to laziness, being stressed or depressed, the cure to every single of these things is
Yeah, man. No, appreciate you jumping on. This is going to be the pretty much the third episode, so you're in early doors. So glad to have you
excited,
on.
and I'm glad, I'm one of the early one.
That's it, man. No, but I appreciate
Yes.
it. Appreciate it. And I know
Yeah.
we've known each other a little while. Not not a crazy amount, but obviously been around each other for a little bit, seen your business growing, which has been awesome.
Yep.
Just one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. So, I guess if for everyone else who's watching, if you just kind of fill them in a little bit, like what is it that you do? Your business side. Let's just start there, so everyone knows what we're talking about.
All right, absolutely. So, I started teaching English as an 18-year-old. That was a while, 7, 8 years ago. I'm currently 25. So I just wanted to get a different job that, pays a bit more money as compared to just working in a restaurant or a cafe.
Mhm.
So it all started from there. I taught over 1,400 students,
Wow.
and most of them were adults, even older than me. So from there, I developed a passion for teaching a lot. But then it wasn't just, making ends meet, the bills and every single thing. I was like, no, I got to do something different. So during my time of teaching, I got into e-com, I got into drop shipping, and I found a couple of winning products, but could never scale them because I live in a place that's in the US sanctions list. So we didn't have bank accounts at that time, even now. So I'm operating things very carefully not to get shut down. So it's a very, very big challenge. So drop shipping taught me a lot of things because in drop shipping you learn writing product descriptions, you learn how to create ad creative, design video ads, right? It teaches you multiple skills.
Mm.
So I was like, great, I learned a lot from drop shipping, lost a couple of $1,000s. Then, I started my marketing agency locally, which was a content creation agency. And we did content creation, video, graphic design, content management, promotion, every single thing. And we ended up working with some of the huge brands, the official dealers of Rolex, Tissot, Omega watches, Bugatti clothing line. So it went really great. But I was like, this is I was making very, very good money. But
Mm.
it's we don't have Stripe here. Literally every single thing is cash here. So I was making a decent amount of money, but I was like, this is hard to scale now because I had a team of over 10 to 12 people, so it's 10 to 15, right? Sometimes we outsource. And then
Mm.
we're creating content, managing, promoting websites and this and that. So I was like, it's very hard to scale. And I can't scale this beyond a certain amount, X amount of dollars per month. So I was like, time to dive into, international agency, time to start running my paid ads agency. So I did that. It went well, but it was just too much of a headache because majority of the clients expect to see results very fast. Then now I'm still running both of my agencies, but I'm not going very hard at them. They're just a source of income. And as far as from international agency, we do most of the white labeling. So we're
Mm.
just under the covers, right? So it's, we just give the services. So, the marketing agency or anyone can take the blame, but we deliver because, I've built a
Mhm.
strong, solid team over the past couple of years. And
Yeah.
then right after that, last year around December 2022, I was like, great. I've spent 5, 6 years in marketing. I've failed drop shipping and I've taught English. So it's marketing and teaching. And I
Mhm.
have a very, very strong passion for teaching or coaching people because I was one of the most famous teachers inside of the English language center that I was teaching in. And I didn't just teach it from the books. I used to give them like real life stories, experiences, self-improvement, motivation, not just like, the book knowledge and that's it. So it's
Mm.
like time to combine teaching and marketing together and let's teach it to other people. So and then,
Awesome.
I started my coaching business. So this around, 14 months ago. And then it was, kind of struggling here and there, but, finally managed to pull off my offer. And here we are doing
That's
pretty,
awesome.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome, man. That's quite a list of accomplishments, right? You've
Thank
done
you.
quite a few
Appreciate it.
things in those few years, but that's really cool, man. So for you then, how? how important or how useful was going through, the drop shipping and the e-com? Because I know you mentioned obviously you're learning descriptions and copywriting and all that. Like, do you feel, even though you said in your own words you failed at those, I mean, whether that's true or not, that's one thing, but do you still feel that that was really important for you to be able to get to the level you're at now with where you are, or like what role did those sort of places play?
Yeah, so I believe that every affiliate that I ever had, put me to at the place where I am today.
Mhm.
So drop shipping, I did lose a lot of money in drop shipping back in the day, but I still drop shipping is my dream. Even if I'm
Right.
hitting 10K months, 15K months, I still want to get into drop shipping
Mhm.
because I have a nature, I'm very stubborn. When I put my mind to something, I do it. And it's
Yeah.
in a good way. Right.
Yeah.
And my brother told me a couple of months ago that, hey, Sufian, if I were you, I would have given up 4 years ago
Mhm.
when you were experiencing failure with drop shipping and all that. And the reason drop shipping is helped me branch out more into the marketing because I was like, it's I think if people start with just affiliate marketing and these kind of stuff, they take time to learn. Even just people, newbies starting around coaching businesses or SMMA. But if they start with drop shipping, lose a couple of $1,000s,
Mhm.
they'll learn a lot. They learn how to run paid ads. They learn
Mhm.
creatives. Copywriting is very, very important. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen my Facebook profile these last couple of days. A lot of people are reaching out to me and they're like, bro, I love your copy. I'm
Mhm.
like, is it that good? So I've built that up over the last couple of years. I'm not even bragging about myself, but it's the feedback, and I care about
Yeah.
feedback, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very important to try multiple things. And I think e-commerce or dropshipping is one of those, even though if you fail, you learn a lot. And I
Yeah.
still sometimes coach people in e-com because,
Mhm.
I've built, over the past couple of years, I've gained experience and knowledge, even though I didn't succeed. That was because of external problems beyond my control, payment
Yeah.
problems, US sanction, getting shut
Mhm.
down. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. No, I think that's really good. I like the fact that you're taking those lessons that you've learned from one place and putting them in another. Because there's a lot uh, in our online industry, let's call it, right? Coaching, biz op, drop shipping, they all kind of come under one big umbrella sometimes.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of content out there and a lot of people for obvious reasons that push, just that one way should work. You should only ever do that one. But I think it's really interesting for you, talking about start with one of them, learn the basics from there, and then start progressing into where you want to be and take those lessons. That's huge, man. I mean, for you,
Absolutely.
if you don't mind me asking, like, what was the change like for you from obviously teaching and kind of that side? I'm not sure how that was run, but but then stepping into your own business online and kind of becoming
Can
more
you
of
just repeat
a
that? Your voice is cut out a little bit.
oh, my apologies. I was saying,
Yeah, no
like,
worries.
what was the difference for you from going from, the job and working before into then becoming a business owner and all that side? Like, what was the differences for you? What changes did you see, or what changes did you have to make?
Yeah. So when I was working as an English teacher, I was working 10 hours a day, right? 5 courses per day, and each course was 2 hours. And there was a
Wow.
5-minute break between each and every course. And it was summer, and we had a lot of power cuts back in the day as we were recovering from the war and every single thing.
Mhm.
So that taught me tons of hard work, even under stressful and tough conditions.
Yeah.
And guess what? That's all you need to run a successful business.
Mhm.
I will not say that I have a big successful business, but that played an important role in
Mhm.
training my subconscious, my mentality into never giving up. If
Mhm.
I didn't go through that phase while I was teaching, then I might have just given up after drop shipping and be like, hey, this online shit doesn't work. And let me just get back to teaching. So
Mhm.
that played a very, very important role.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
Yep.
That's huge. Is that a is that a you mindset, or is that kind of like a cultural mindset of, like, you said stubbornness and all that side? What do you feel? Where does that come from?
It's definitely not the culture because I'm
Yeah.
originally from Pakistan, right? I was born and raised here in Libya. It's a great
Right.
country,
Yeah.
and we're still developing after war, but it's definitely not a culture thing. If it was a thing that wasn't culture, if you become uh if you hang out with 5 people,
Yeah.
5 stupid people, you become the sixth one, right? Or 5 millionaires become the sixth millionaire. So
Mhm.
if that was the case, I'm sure I would be a multimillionaire by now if it was a culture thing, because it's very
Sure.
hard to find positive circle. You just imagine for the last 6 months, because I train 2 times a day. I do kickboxing in the morning, not
Mhm.
perfect, but I do weightlifting at night. So I'm trying to find a partner to do some practice some kickboxing with. It's been 6 months, there's no one,
Wow.
so it's kind of hard. So it's not a culture thing. I think it's
Mhm.
because I've went to YouTube and watched people like Ty Lopez, love him. Watching him since 2015, 2016. I just started looking at him as my mentor. If you
Mhm.
can't find winning people around you, you can just look someone online. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're just gonna make excuses. I mean, if you're living in a first world country, you've got a lot of examples. So
Mhm.
if I can, like me, can make it, of course, I mean, you have no excuses. And I'm a bit tough on the mindset part
Yeah.
because uh, I was able to make it. I still haven't made it, right? But I was able to make it. So if I can do it in such hard circumstances, then everybody
Mhm.
can do it. It's all about the mindset. So you just got to be sometimes a bit hard on yourself if
Yeah.
you're truly moved to create a life that you desire.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think I agree. Like mindset's probably one of the most important things because everything else you can learn, you can find out, there's ways to get around stuff. So let's dive into the mindset a little bit more then. So
Sure.
for you, like, I guess walk me through a bit of your mindset. You said you're kind of hard on the mindset, you're a bit tough on it, and you used words like, there's no excuses. So like for you, like what's your sort of take on mindset then? Like what's your view on it?
Look, I think if someone is trying to accomplish a certain goal, they can just accomplish it.
Mm,
But what people often happens now, 2024, because the education industry or coaches, everyone is on the rise.
mhm,
Everybody's just paralyzed by tons of information out there. And
yeah.
so what happens when people are watching all these successful people online, they feel like it's them. They feel like they get happy. They feel like they're becoming successful just by watching those people. So they
Mm,
get paralyzed. My take on this is whatever you learn or whatever you plan to do, cut out
yeah.
all the distractions and do it. And when it
Okay.
comes to
Yeah.
laziness, being stressed or depressed, the cure every single of these things is just hard work.
Mm,
Because and this quote, I don't know, I read it a couple of years ago on Instagram. It was like the mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions.
mm,
So why do a lot of people stay unhappy? And because a lot of us have these narcissistic traits, I would like to say, that all of us have Instagrams and we look at all this stuff. There's huge potential out there. But then we just get back to our phones, keep scrolling. That is what
mm,
keeps us unhappy because our minds are stretched by these ideas that this is very possible, to achieve it. But then we just get back to our old habits,
mm.
which results in stress, being unhappy, and just uh, basically more problems in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. So because you said that people see other people succeeding and then kind of almost feel as though that was their success, so then they don't need to do anything. Like, do you see that when you're scrolling and when you're looking at other people? Like, is that what you're noticing? You're seeing people like taking that success from someone else and owning it? Like, do you feel that's like a bit of an issue with current state of things?
Of course, yes. And it all comes down to short form content because it gives you dopamine spikes.
Mm,
Okay, great. Because if you just like look at people going through TikToks or Instagram Reels, the way the emotions on their faces change, and the speed of their eyeballs,
mm,
it's just insane. So just going through all these things, it makes you lazy, and at the same time, it's I think at the end of the day, just like when it comes to mindset, I think it's all speed because if you implement every single thing super fast, you
mm,
you see results faster, you fail faster, and then you
mm.
redo things faster. So instead of just
Yeah.
doing things, planning things in the next 3 months, I will do this, do it in 1 month. So you can fail faster, read data faster, analyze, and repeat and fix that.
Mhm.
And that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I think speed is an underrated thing. Like just for
Very.
example, in our industry at the moment, I don't know how much you're familiar with some of the things that's going on with things like the FTC over in America, the Federal Trades Commission and people like that. Like, and there's one big popular. I think it's all common knowledge, but I don't want to name just in case I break anything. But I'm pretty sure it's all known. But anyway, got sued for like millions, but then like 2 days later, he's wrote a book and a podcast on like how to sell FTC friendly ways. And
Yeah,
that's
I think I've read about it. I'm not sure on your profile or something. Did you share it? Did you share about it?
I've put something about it before, yeah.
I
Um,
think so. I've read FTC somewhere in a few days back.
so
I'm not
so
really sure.
what yeah, what's interesting with that, and I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but they're basically clamping down on sales techniques that may be deemed a little dark or manipulative, or things like that. So they're kind of starting to touch down a bit on, if you dig too deep into someone's financial goal and then you make a claim that you can help them get there, but can you actually claim that? That's kind of like their positioning.
Mhm.
So so someone obviously got brought before them. There's a lot of people they're investigating, and I think that's a different matter altogether, on the context of it all. But what was really funny, but also impressed me, was obviously he got fined by them, settled it, and he's fine with it. And he said, hands up, like, hey, I've learned a lot. I didn't know some of this stuff was wrong. I didn't know they didn't agree with that. And now he's already released a book and a podcast about how not to be sued by the FTC. And I
That's
think
very
that's,
smart.
yeah, but it's really impressive, just the speed on that. Because if that happened to, so you can see why he was successful before, right? Because if that's his mindset of, this has happened to me, now I'm going to, one, help other people not get caught by it, but also two, I can make more money doing this in the right way. And I think a lot of other people would get like, oh, I better be
Yeah.
careful what I do now. They'll spend 18 months planning and waiting. And yeah, so I think speed's a
Yep.
really, really powerful thing. Um,
Of course.
one thing, obviously with like short form content and all that side, I definitely agree. Um, and it hits me as well. I struggle with that. The other thing I struggle with a bit is when I see someone, either because I'm not doing the speed yet, like I'm a bit slower. That's always been my issue. If I see someone
Mhm.
mention something I was thinking of doing, then I kind of go, oh, well, what's the point of me doing it now? Or if I see someone doing something slightly different, I'm like, oh, should I go out with my idea? Like, how have you ever had to combat those thoughts, and like,
Yeah.
what's your thought process on overcoming those sorts of
Yeah.
mindsets?
Yeah. So let's say that, I'm trying to create a piece of content, short form, YouTube video, whatever. And I see someone already doing that. But I will still do it. You know why? It's because the person who did it before me doesn't have the same story as me, doesn't have the same experiences as me. So
Mm,
that's what sets people apart, your story. There
mm,
might be a way more successful agency owner. There might be a way more successful restaurant. By the way, I also own a local fine dine restaurant, Pakistani
okay.
restaurant. So
Oh, nice.
so there might be a more better successful coach than me, but not everybody wants to work with the best. Some
Mm,
people just want to relate, and they relate
mm,
to your story. And that's how you stand out. Maybe if I click on one video that has 1 million views, but I can't relate to it, the way he speaks and the way he presents himself, it just doesn't go with me. And then I
mm,
click on your channel, even if it's new, I just relate to you. You're a humble guy. You're very down to earth. I'm like, this guy's great. I'm gonna watch him for the rest of the year and probably
yeah.
even connect with, probably even work with him. So I think that's one of the best mentality when it comes to creating any piece of content. Do not, whatever you think about creating, it already exists in the market most of the time. Most of the time. So your story sets you apart. The way you present yourself, the way you talk. I have a story. I'm living in a country that I have one, two, three. That sets me apart.
Mhm.
So, everyone has a story that sets them apart. And if they just focus on it, and stop focusing on other people, I think they will just do fine.
I like that. Yeah, that's a really interesting way to look at it. So your story and who you are as a person is your unique selling point, basically, not what you're creating and not what you're doing. Because, like you say, there's enough of certain things out there already, but it everybody still needs that
Of
thing to
course,
relate to.
of course, whatever you're creating, whatever you're providing to the market, whatever solution you're providing to the problem, it does matter, right? But I think most of the part of it is what comes from story. And when you see people like Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, Ty Lopez, all these people, when they come up on the stage,
Mm,
the first thing they talk about is what? They talk about their story, where they were, where they are now.
yeah.
Because a lot of people, literally every single one of them was broke, working in a
Mhm.
corporate job, living in a garage, whatever. And a lot of people, most of the people now can relate to them. And that's why they spend, and when you watch webinars, right? The great era of webinars back in 2017, 18, Downlock and all these guys, they were doing webinars. So how these webinars go is they talk about their story, and then they get you excited about this business model that's going to generate you a lot of money. Again, you're thinking by watching this, you're going to get successful, dopamine spikes. And then they tell you the little how. So it's story, they tell you what the business model is about, and they tell you the very little how, and then they pitch their long offer. So that's how it works.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Have you been through a few of those funnels in your time then?
I've watched a lot. And
Yeah.
even they claim that it's live, but it just turns out to be a replay. So that,
Yeah.
that kind of hurts.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. But no, that's a fair point. So for you then, let's say some of the people watching this may be starting out pretty early on. They may be trying different business models. Obviously, my kind of focus is around online business, and then I tend to lean more towards the sales process just because that's my story, I guess. For you, if someone was getting started in this or just starting, and maybe they're struggling with a bit of their mindset, they're wanting to do it, they're seeing all these other people and all the issues we've talked about, like what's some things you could tell them that they could maybe start doing or stop doing or try and change to help with that mindset to then start building their business?
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, that I'm a perfectionist, right?
Mhm.
And it's one of the best and worst traits to have. And whatever you see these lightnings and every single thing, if it's not on point, I don't record my videos, never. So first of all, if you just wait for things to be perfect, if you try to perfect every single thing, you're never going to start. And this is coming from personal experience. I've made a lot of really dumb mistakes and missed out on a lot of opportunities just because I was trying to perfect everything. If you're just trying to start a drop shipping store, you're into coaching, you're into SMMA, whatever online business model you're in, the best thing to do is not to start preparing your funnels, email sequences, whatever. The best thing to do is to start doing the things that is going to make you money, even if it's imperfect. You're thinking about cold calls for if you're an agency owner, you don't watch 100 videos on YouTube on how to cold call. Watch one or two of them, pick up the phone, because you're going to learn a lot by trying it out. By experience is the best teacher. So that's one of the things. Don't try to be a perfectionist and just do whatever's on your mind. And now I think because I'm kind of guilty of this too, is that I didn't start my personal brand earlier, a couple of years back. I tried a couple of YouTube channels, then got busy in the agency and stuff. So I just, couldn't continue. But I think personal brand is because if you're trying to start a marketing agency, okay, that's one industry, one niche. If you're trying to start, something else, that's one industry, one niche. But if you're in a personal brand, you just build yourself up, you tell your story, you provide value to the audience, and then you sell them whatever you want. So start putting out videos on YouTube. You don't need to create it as perfect as this lightning, as this background. Pick your phone up, start shooting videos and post them. You never know when you're going to go viral. Maybe you post your first video, you go viral. So it's start taking action immediately, right? Just don't get paralyzed by information because there's a lot. And if you get stuck in this loop, you literally never get out. I have worked with people, I've coached people that have spent. So I was talking to this, prospect, potential client, a couple of days back, and she said last year she spent almost 100 grand in coaching. I was like, great, and that's a lot of money. How much money are you making now? She was like, zero. So she was like, I'm trying. So some people are just trying to find the perfect coach, the perfect moment, which never comes. And the more you delay it, the harder it gets because the competition is rising every single day. So your next blog, your next piece of content, text, you want to start a community, you want to start a fitness channel, just do it. Create imperfect videos, and then over time you'll find perfection.
I love that. I think that's really important. I think
and when it comes to the mindset part, sorry to interrupt, when it comes to the mindset part, there's only one thing that keeps me going. If not me, then who? because we don't have a lot of winners in our families. So if not me, I'm just gonna die, and then my bloodline will just continue. And I just want to leave a legacy. I want to be known. So it's not always about money. It's about
Yeah.
leaving a legacy. It's about the power. So it's a lot of things, right? So it's very simple. Mindset for me is very simple. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, you will just find excuses.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's it. Very, very
Yeah.
simple.
Okay. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. And for you, if you're struggling, let's say someone is like wanting to do this thing and they're looking and they're going, okay, I want to do this, but then they are coming up with excuses. Is there anything that you've found worked for you originally, just to go, I know like you've kind of touched on it, but like one like thing that you would just would it be the legacy or something that you'd go, this is what I need to lean on, that's more important than any excuse I've got right now?
Okay, it might not be mindset, but you can find groups or communities where you feel challenged, right? Because
Mm.
I've recently, Alex Hormozy in school is a big thing.
Yep.
That's pushing the content pushing out it's because of the school games and all that. So
Interesting.
yeah, because if you don't have people pushing you, your circle doesn't push you, then it's very hard. And because if I told you, if I had a winning circle around me, I would be in a way, way, way different place. So sometimes I understand you just don't feel like working, you're just disappointed. 2 days ago, I was like disappointed. Yesterday, I decided to make a special offer in a group, and I got over 300 leads. So in one day, things change,
Yeah.
right? I went from I recently launched a community from 40 members. Now we're almost like near 80 to 100.
Wow.
So things can change in 24 to 48 hours if you decide to take action. And it's just, I think so. It's how do I put it this way? Because I just don't want to sound too harsh, because I'm very harsh on myself.
Mhm.
Let me put it this way: no one gives a fuck about you. And if you have, and if I'm sorry, that was harsh as well. No matter how tough your story is,
Mhm.
my story can be way more emotional. I've lost friends as well, in war and all that. My story can be more emotional than Gary Vee, Tyler Lopez, and all these people. But if I don't put out content, I'm just going to take every single thing to the grave.
Mm.
So it's, if you want to be known for the things that you went through, the traumas and the problems and the challenges, just work.
Mm.
Put yourself out, create content, and people are going to love you.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's something that more people need to understand. And I think as well, it's easy to look at successful or famous people and be like, well, of course people care about what they say. Why would they care about what I say? But like you said, um, a lot of those people as well, they had to go through a long journey to get to that point, right? Like they didn't just care what they said the first time they spoke. Like it may look different now, content and the journey we take, but yeah, that's a really interesting idea. I like that. I like that a lot.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool, man. So for you then, let's talk a little bit of future. What's kind of you've got, I mean, just dropping in, you also own like a fine dining restaurant and things, like you've got a lot going on, man. Like what's next for you, like over the next, let's just say the next year or two or 10 years, like where are you trying to go with all this?
Um, so first of all, since I love teaching, so I have, a lot of plans to scale my coaching business along with the community,
Mhm.
because and trying to make it as affordable as possible for people, because I understand I'm coming from a place where the economy now is very bad.
Mm.
So an iPhone like this, 5 years ago, you can even check on Google the exchange rate between dollar and Libyan dinars. This was $1,000, let's say, 5 years ago, example. Now it's $5,000.
Wow.
So it went up by 400 to 500%. And these days it's at 700%. So $1 was 1 Libyan dinars and one and a half Libyan dinars. Now it's seven.
Wow.
Makes sense? So
Yeah.
everything just flipped over. So my goal is, because, and then, and still during this situation, I tried to afford, because I was running a content creation agency, I was making tons of money. So I decided to invest into learning. $3,000, $7,000, $5,000. It was really hard. So three into seven is 21,000. So it's a big number. So I want to. This is my goal. It's to make knowledge accessible to everyone literally, and that's the long-term vision. And in the next 5 years, of course, I see myself into ecom and coaching mostly, and then just traveling around the world. And it's public speaking is one of the things that's on my wish list, which doesn't happen here a lot, but hopefully, planning to do a couple of public speaking, like on stages and all in the coming years.
Awesome, man. I love that.
Yes.
No, that's awesome. And I guess for you then, if someone was looking for coaching or maybe getting started with something now, like how could they possibly get started or, find out more about yourself? Like where can they go to learn more about you, find out more about working with you, all that good stuff?
Yeah. So, it's I love to promote myself at the same time, I don't think it's very necessary, but you can start as simple as how to start an online coaching business on YouTube. Or I also teach that for free. I have a couple of trainings for in between 3 to 5 hour free trainings inside of my community there where they can, go ahead and learn that for free as well. But just don't get paralyzed by a lot of information. Don't watch me and then go watch someone else. And don't go watch someone else and then watch someone else because you're just gonna stay stuck in a loop. And if someone wants to start a coaching business, it's very, very simple. Instagram, TikTok, short form content, a very simple one-step funnel to capture people's emails and send them to your community or your one product, low ticket product, and start creating content. That's it. People are like, because I've talked to a lot of coaches, in fitness niche. In fitness niche, I've recently, a few months ago, had a fitness client. He went from literally $0 to making 63K revenue in about 5-6 months working with me and gaining almost 50,000 followers. He's close to hitting almost 100,000 followers now. He also owns a supplement store. He recently invested around with investors $6 million in a VIP gym that he's going to start building. So yeah, so a lot of coaches that I talk to. So sometimes I just like to help people, right? It's not about just selling. So maybe my intention in the first point was selling, and then they're just not ready. Maybe they can't really afford apart from the objections. I'm like, okay, but I'll just keep on following up with you because I'm rooting for you. I want you to be successful. So 2 weeks later, I asked them, hey, what's up? Hey, yeah, I'm working on my logo. Great. Another 2 weeks later, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm just, planning my content. A month passes by. A month later, hey, what's up? Yeah, I was just taking a break. So you don't need to overcomplicate things. You don't need to create fancy websites. You don't need to create professional content. The only thing you need to do is Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Let's not talk about Facebook. Write your offer, very simple. I help XYZ with this. Work with people for free so you can gather testimonials, get some results, and start creating content, providing value.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's one of the fastest ways to succeed.
Yeah. I love it.
Yes.
It's that simple, right? It's
very extremely simple.
So I think, and I love that, and I appreciate that. I think that's a great breakdown of what you need to do. Mindset, obviously, like you said, if you can switch off the perfectionism and switch on the let's just go and do it, then you do those simple things.
Of course.
Yeah, that's the key for a lot of people. I think one thing I've seen, obviously, like I said before, I travel a lot more in the sales circle, so I've been in pretty much every sales training that there is, and I think, like you said, don't go from one coach to one coach to one coach and never do anything. And I think there's always that thought in people's heads that I'm not quite good enough, and there's probably one piece of information that I'm missing, and they just search for that permanently rather than just go in, let's just do it.
Yeah, but if they just implement the actual stuff, they're gonna answer themselves. I'm guilty of this. It's back in 2021, I spent 3,000 euros on a coach for SMMA. I didn't see much success with him, but I didn't blame him because I didn't actually implement the steps myself. So I take the blame. Most people don't. Like, oh no, this coach was this.
Yeah.
If you're not even me as your coach, any coach, and if they have a little bit of solid reputation in the market, they don't have to be the best. If you implement what they say 90% of the time, I promise you will see results in the next 2 to 4 weeks. I promise you will sign a client. It's that simple. But the feeling of I'm missing something, I'm missing a specific piece of information is something that's gonna keep you hanging for years.
Yeah, I agree. And do you feel that I'm missing something? Do you think that gets built up a little bit by marketing? So do you feel like those that are scrolling, they do see things that say, hey, if you only knew this one extra thing, you'd double your commissions? Do you feel like that's an issue, or do you think that's just marketing and it's our mindsets that need to be?
I don't think that's just marketing, right? If I go and say you just need to start posting more content, 2 reels a day instead of 2 reels a week, that's one switch. I flipped and boom, they start seeing results. So a lot of these switches, they work.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're called switches, it's marketing tactic, but they work. And a lot of them are like kind of just to get attention, but it's don't just get yourself distracted trying to find the next switch. It's all about, look, it's very simple. If you start implementing and start learning from your failures like I did, and then you will just answer your own self more than any other coach. What coaches do is try to help you to avoid mistakes that they had made in the past, so you don't go through them. But you still make those mistakes 6 months later because you're not taking action, and then you learn them the hard way, and you just blame it on the coach. So it's very, very crazy because since I got into coaching last year, it's very crazy to see that how many people have given up. I see profiles that I talked to a year ago or 13, 14 months ago, and last seen or last post about their coaching business was 7 months ago.
Wow.
So everybody is just in and out, in and out, in and out. They think it's a quick buck.
Yeah.
Actually, it isn't. It can be if you're lucky enough. They say, it takes one winning product to change your life in drop shipping. It takes one viral piece of content or reel to change your life. That's it. And that can come if you're lucky enough. If you're not like me, if you're lucky enough, that can happen tomorrow for you, or it can happen after 3 years, or can happen after 3 years, but it will happen.
Yeah. But it can't if you don't keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? That's it. No, that's awesome, man. Well, no, I appreciate your time on this. I think there's a lot of good takeaways that people can take from this. I mean, I've definitely taken some stuff from this, so I'm really glad we got a chance to do this, man. And obviously, I know you said you don't want to promote yourself too much and all that side, but I'd love to be able to point people towards your stuff, maybe in the description or something of this episode, just, because you've obviously shared some value here. And if people resonate that, I want them to be able to, keep taking that value from you. So, but no, Sufian, I really appreciate your time on this, man. It's been a great learning experience for me, and hopefully, it's been good for you to share some of your value. But yeah, man, it's been really good. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. And I wish you the best of luck on this podcast journey. Stay consistent. Remember, take imperfect action. Otherwise, you just get left behind.
That's it, man. Appreciate it. Awesome, man.
Perfect.
Let's stay in touch then, okay? And we'll keep growing together.
Okay, perfect. Take it easy, brother.
Awesome.